Hi guys, welcome in. So today is going to be the start of a new segment that I want to try. It's called Manga with Mira. And as the name suggests, we'll be going over some manga today. I read a lot of it, whether it's manga or webtoons, and I really wanted to share with you guys some of the ones that I really like and want and think are good enough to share with you, or even if they're not good enough, ones that I just really want to gush about and indoctrinate you into the fandom for. So obviously, since I'll be discussing the mangas, there are going to be spoiler warnings, and also I wish I was paid, but I'm not. So these are all just my personal views and personal feelings and opinions on the manga. And so without further ado, we can get right into it. The manga that I chose for the first episode is, well, the Japanese name, and hopefully I don't butcher it too much, is Umarekawatte mo matta Watashi to Kekkon shite kuremasu ka, which loosely translates to, if we're born again, will you marry me? And it is by Morinaga, Miku, and it is 22 chapters, technically 26, but there's some extra chapters that aren't like super part of the main story. They're kind of like side chapters or fill-ins, whatever you want to call it, or little gifts to us as the readers. And so I want to say there's 22 main chapters. But yeah, so the story covers the life and love story of this elderly couple. The female lead, her name is Kaoru, and she is one of 6 children in her family. She's the second to youngest child. And the male lead is Toranosuke, who is one of 3 children. And Toranosuke's family owns a landscaping company called Ibuki Landscaping, and they met because, well, they first met when they were children, but after that they were reunited because Kaoru became a worker for his family. And so because she was working for the family, they had kind of grown up together and were always together. And the story is mainly told from the female lead's point of view, because she is recounting their life and love story from their younger years. Because unfortunately Toranosuke is nearing the end of his life, so he is, for the majority of the manga, he is unconscious in the hospital. And so every day Kaoru goes there to visit him with her little book, her little diary, and she goes, "Oh, what should we talk about today? I'm going to go over this memory. Do you remember when we met? Or do you remember when we were 10, 13, or this day, or this memory? I wrote it all down here so that I could share it with you and so that we can relive it together." And she goes there every day, sometimes alone, sometimes with friends, sometimes with other family members, but she always visits him. And it is such a cute story, and obviously, if you can't tell, it is a romance, but the dedication that this couple has to each other and the depth of their love is just so good. I really suggest that you guys give it a try if you want to read something. I will warn you though, this manga will make you cry. I won't want to say pride myself, but I don't think that I cry often, and even for a lot of movies that people say like, "Oh, I was a mess, I was crying, blah blah blah," I was not stone-faced, but it really didn't get to me in that way. And this manga really got to me in that way because of the depth of the characters and the depth of the story, and just the way that the author conveys these emotions to you, because you really understand what each character is feeling and what they're going through. And so I will share a couple of the stories with you. A little bit. I'll try my best. So when they first meet, for example, Kaoru is carrying this hay or wheat bale on her back, and she's carrying it across this I'm not sure if you guys have seen the pictures. If you guys are anime or manga fans, you already know what I'm talking about. But Japan has a lot of these walkways that run alongside the rivers. And so she was walking alongside the river, and she caught a glimpse of these kids and Toranosuke, the male lead, who are all surrounding this very injured puppy. And so obviously her first instinct is that these kids are bullying this puppy, and the puppy is so injured. The puppy is really, really hurt. And so she goes in there and she's, "Hey, what are you guys doing? Don't bully the puppy, blah, blah, blah." And she finds out that Toranosuke was actually standing up to the bullies who were beating up the puppy. And she, it kind of touches her heart that this kid stood up for the animal when, obviously the puppy couldn't stand up for itself, even with one human, let alone a group of them. So, she gets touched by this, and she says, "Okay, well, we can raise the puppy together. I'll be the mom and you'll be the dad." Because a lot of female children, I'm not sure why we always default to playing house. You're the mom, I'm the mom, you're the dad. We're gonna be happy family, and the puppy is our child. But obviously for Toranosuke, because he's a boy, to him, she basically proposed to him, because what do you mean we're a family? I don't know you. And it's really, really cute. So he is like, "Yeah, okay." And he's super blushy. And the mom comes across the two of them with the puppy, and she is obviously comes to the same conclusion that Kaoru did. And she said, "Hey, what did you do to this puppy?" And she starts berating her son. "Why would you injure this puppy? This is such a bad thing to do, blah, 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 blah." And Kaoru actually gets in between them. She stands up to Toranosuke's mother and says, "Hey, don't be mad at him, please. He was actually protecting this puppy. There were a bunch of kids who were bullying him, and he saved the puppy. Please, please, please don't be mad at him." And the mother is like, "Oh, is that what happened? Is she telling the truth?" And, in turn, once she realizes that that was the case, she compliments him and says, "Good job." And they tell the mother, "Yeah, and we're gonna raise it together. I'm the mom and he's the dad." And so obviously as a mother, she's just, "Oh, this is so cute." And so she becomes a supporter of their love. Their little puppy love. Get it? Puppy? Anyway. So they have a promise to take care of this puppy together. But after that day, Toranosuke and his mother never see Kaoru, and they wait every day for her. And Toranosuke just doesn't understand. "Oh, why isn't she coming? She made a promise to me. Did she lie to me? Why is she not keeping her promise? We're supposed to raise the puppy together. I'm the father and she's the mother. How can she leave us like this?" And so he gets so angry, so distraught. He waits every day for her. And he goes back to that same place that they met, and yet she's not there. And a year later, she comes to his house as one of the workers. And, obviously things are very tense between them, because she knows she broke the promise. He knows she broke the promise. But what he doesn't know is that she was actually having a really, really rough time with her circumstances. And so she couldn't make good on her promise. And it wasn't something that she could control, because, as I said, when they met, she was carrying a hay or wheat barrel, and not barrel, a hay or wheat bale, and she was actually carrying it to her employer. And because she got there late due to the puppy incident, the employer, who had a really, really short temper, started to beat her. And he beat her so bad that she was left bloody, unconscious in the streets. And obviously back then there were no actual streets, because this is, way back in the olden days of Japan. So it's just a dirt, muddy road, and it's raining, and there's just this, basically what looks like a lifeless child out in the road. And so thankfully someone came across her and saved her and brought her to the doctor, and you find out that he beat her so bad that both her left eye and her left ear no longer work. And so that affected her to this day, and she obviously, because she was so hurt and so injured and she had to take the time to recover, she couldn't go meet him and to take care of the puppy together. And so she had to break her promise, but she always felt guilty about it. So when they reunite, he's calling out to her like, hey, but he doesn't realize that every time he called out to her, it was on her left side. Like, he would be coming around the corner and she would be cleaning something or doing some work, and he would only be on her left side, and so she couldn't hear him. So she was unintentionally or unknowingly ignoring him, but to him, he doesn't know all this yet. So he gets super hurt again and gets even more angry, and he finds out later and confronts her and says, who did this to you? Who? We'll beat them up. We'll get rid of them. We'll take care of them. Don't worry. And it's just such a big gesture for such a small child, because they can't be more than, I want to say maybe like 7. And yet he's making this big gesture to her. We'll take care of them. Don't worry. And he says that he will be his eyes and his ears and eyes and blah blah blah. He will be his eyes and ears for her, and it's just so cute. It really tugs at your heartstrings. And another thing that I wanted to go over about the manga, even though it is really cute, another reason that I really liked the manga was because it also shows the not cute sides. It shows what kids had to go through back then. They had to do manual labor if they weren't rich enough to afford things. And the manual labor, depending on the employer, it could be a good or bad thing. And you could get beaten and nobody would care. Thankfully, there was, some Samaritan who found her and was able to take her to the doctor. But there must be countless stories where they were left there and nobody found them, But along with that, because of the time period, and because it goes through their whole life, you see them as kids, you see them as teenagers, you see them as adults. They go through, obviously, some of the history of Japan too. So you see them before, during, and after World War II. And so it really shows the effect of World War II and the gravity of what both men and women went through. Because, when they become teenagers, you see some of the older males who were part of Toranosuke's company or part of his family who had been drafted. And you see the emotions of what the men go through and also what the women go through. Because even though they were quote-unquote left behind or left waiting, they wanted to confess their love or tell them that they'd be waiting for them for however long it takes them to get back. They just have to get back alive. And it really shows the depth of, and the seriousness of what it means to go to war. And the author does a really good job covering this because they actually took the time to, look at some of the dates and look at the maps and incorporate that into the manga. So you actually follow some of the characters through war, and you see some of them who were pilots and some of them who were the groundsmen. I'm not sure what you call them, the ones who are actually fighting the good fight and having to be in the jungle and actually confronting the Americans face to face, and what it means to take a life, or what it means to have to throw away your morality. And there's even a quote where one of the fellow soldiers of one of the characters says, you can't see them as humans. Once you see them as humans, it's over, because it's life or death out here. If you don't kill them, they will kill you. If you have people waiting for you, don't look at them as a human, otherwise you won't make it out. And it really shows like what mental place they had to go through in order to make it to the next day. Even you see their exhaustion, you see their pain, you see their turmoil, but you also see some of the good moments between the two, the bonding moments between these soldiers. And I mean, along with the soldiers, you also see Kaoru and some of her friends when they're in school. I believe it is their middle school or high school age, where they get assigned to help some of the tents. And for Kaoru, she was actually assigned to help out with some of the pilots. And so they go in and they say, how can we help? We will do anything. We're good with manual labor. We can clean. We can cook for you guys. What do you need? And so the pilots ask them, well, if you're here to help, can you do our laundry? And they go, of course. So they take the laundry, they wash it, they bring it back, but there's no one in the room, and they don't understand. So they ask one of the commanders there, hey, we did the laundry for this group of people. Where do we put them? Are they training? Are they, where did they go? And she figures out that they were deployed, and so she waits for them to get back so that she can give them the laundry, but they never come back. And she realizes that anybody that comes to this pilot barrack does not come back. And you really get to see like what the point of view is for people who were living it, because a lot of the people didn't know that they were doing kamikaze. They only knew, we have to do the laundry for this group of people, and whoever comes here does not come back. So they only assume that they die, but they don't know how or why or, the circumstances of it. They just know what they have to do. And unfortunately, they did come across some people that they know. And so Kaoru actually comes across Toranosuke's older brother, because like I said, he is one of 3 children. And so his older brother, Ryunosuke, actually is drafted and becomes one of these pilots that comes to Kaoru's barrack. And because she doesn't know exactly what it means for them to be a pilot here, she doesn't know that they're kamikaze. All she knows is that they don't come back. And so she's distraught. She is crying, sobbing. Why are you here? Why am I seeing you? No! Because she knows that he won't come back, but she doesn't know why. And knowing, obviously we learn about it in school, but knowing all of the context with the emotions with it, it just makes the story so much better and gives it more character, and you really get like the insider point of view of what it means for the people growing up through this era. A lot of people had to stop going to school because they had to be drafted, or they had to stop pursuing things that they wanted, or this and that, because they had to help out cleaning, doing dishes, fighting, whatever it is that the war needed from them. And there's even one of the female workers who goes to Hiroshima because there was some sort of air raid, and they had bombed her family's house, and she had to go back to take care of them. And this was before the nuclear bombs, so you see her before and you also see her after, and you see the effect it has on her body. And it's just so, there's not really a word for it, but the emotions that are conveyed through it, the author does a really, really good job. And I really want you guys to consider giving it a read, because even though it is cute and it's so touching and it gives you the heart flutters and, you know, gives you all of the love aggression, or instead of cuteness aggression, it's love aggression where you just but it also shows, you know, the good and the bad side to living through those eras. And yeah, that's pretty much all that I want to share with you, because I want you guys to experience it yourself. So again, the Japanese title is Umarekawatte mo mata watashi to kekkon shite kuremasu ka, which is If We're Born Again, Will You Marry Me? And I really hope that you guys give it a read. If you have differing views from me, if you think it was bad, if you think it was shit, or blah blah blah, if you think it's propaganda, whatever it is, or if you really, really loved it and you understand how much my heart broke reading this in both good and bad ways. I cried so many times. But if you either agree or disagree, you can let me know in the comments, and I will be able to gush with somebody else finally. Also, if you have any other manga that you want to suggest to me, I will give it a try, and you know, maybe you'll see it on another video, but you know, do it at your own risk, because I will be honest about it. So if I don't like it, or if it's just meh, whatever, or if I can tell that it's just, you know, service for male or female readers, I will say it. And so, you know, if you're okay with that and you want me to check it out, please feel free. I'm always looking for more manga to read and more stories to, you know, fill up my heart and fill up my brain. But yes, so thank you guys for coming to the first episode of Manga with Mira, and hopefully I can make this into a pretty active series. I want to switch off if possible between this and doing some of my covers, so sometimes you'll see this, sometimes you'll see the cover, sometimes both, maybe, you know. But yeah, if you like it, you will see some more of it. So I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.